Okay, people, so what is it? November 12, 2013. 2020. Okay. As you can see here, YouTube's back at it. People. Didn't take them long. Okay, I just signed into YouTube. You can see what they've done here. They've taken down one of my videos from, okay, they did that today, early in the morning, right? I told you, the stalker is back, okay? I got more than one stalker. Anyway, community guidelines removal, your content, coronavirus, military Cyop / superbug, March 20 of 2020. Sierra died on March 28th of 2020. Okay, people? Was removed due to violation of our community guidelines. So I don't know what it is in terms of why they removed it, because I'm just now coming into this now. If you disagree, appeal here. I don't know what they've done. So we're going to find out. Medical misinformation. Okay, YouTube does not allow content that explicitly disputes the efficacy of local health authorities or World Health Organization guidance on social distancing and self-isolation that may lead people to act against the guidance. Okay, I gotta put this on myself for a second. All right. Didn't we just talk about this, people? I'm gonna add the link to the video that I just did. Okay? In regards to what I've been having to go through because of what they're making me do with Amari. Okay? Like, so much hypocrisy. So much hypocrisy going on here, people. Okay? I don't know. This video, I will find it and I will upload it on BitChute. Because that's what I do. When they remove my videos, I find them and I upload them onto BitChute. Obviously, if I try and appeal this, it probably won't go through, people, because they're just randomly going into my videos and finding things that they can start doing this, right? So that, you know what, they're going to take my video, my whole YouTube channel away from me again. Is this what's leading up to it? Because that's how they did it last time, right? They did the same stuff, just, right? Right? It is an 18-minute video. I have to listen to it. I have to find it. Okay, so what we got here, people, is, what is it called? Fox Business? Fox Business. This is, okay, I'm making commentary on Fox Business, right? 8 days before my daughter suspiciously died with a suspicious investigation that nothing ever came anything about from it, people. Okay? YouTube doesn't allow content that explicitly disputes the efficacy of local health authorities. So they're working in partnership with the province of British Columbia, Canada, and their YouTube channel, okay? Dr. God, Dr. Death, whoever she is to you. Or World Health Organization guidance on social distancing, to which none of that applies to my family, okay? And self-isolation. They got me being a social butterfly with my grandkids out in the community. Well, grandchild. Tisha takes Amari to the majority of the appointments while I watch the children, that may lead people to act against the guidance. I'm just required to go against the guidance. That was the point of my last video, people. I was just discussing that, right? In terms of how they're setting me up for this, I guess, hip surgery for Amari. Because they're never satisfied with anything that's good about him. They're always looking for things that are bad so that they can justify at some point cutting him open and not take any responsibility for the consequences around that. If he should suffer lifelong pain because of it, if he should get infections that require more surgeries and clean wounds and all this other stuff, or if he gets past that point but the plate breaks or the screw pops out or something happens, they have to go in and correct that, right? All on the assumption that they're going to prevent future pain, people. As they got me running to this group, to this group, to this group, to this group, whether it's Tisha that takes Amari or whether it's I that takes Amari, it doesn't matter. It's the point that they've got us going out every 2-3 weeks to different individual groups that clearly benefit from whatever it is that the government's doing, because they don't care if their co-workers get fired if they disagree with the mantra, okay? They're not standing up for their co-workers. The last update that I was listening to, which was just a day or two ago, in terms of, you know, the YouTube channel that's protected by YouTube, right? Because for some reason it is so much more correct than real life experiences. I guess 86 something, okay, now I can't go word for word on this. I'd have to go back and listen and record and make comment on it, but if I'm remembering correctly, I think there was something like 86 paramedics who got basically fired, people. They didn't step down. Let's be clear. They didn't quit their jobs. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. You know, they weren't interested in retiring. If anything, they probably enjoyed being paramedics. That's what they went to school for and trained for. Well, apparently 86 of them have lost their jobs. Right? And apparently, British Columbia, Canada had issues with, you know, a failing healthcare system in general, with not enough qualified workers, including paramedics. So, you know, the outskirts of our communities, in terms of more into the interior, didn't have as much access to paramedics than, say, the inner city, right? So they were already kind of in lacking with enough paramedics before all this stuff happened, right? Right? That's disrupting so many lives. That's destroying so many lives. That's bankrupting household after household after household with so many lives, except for the ones that are prospering off of the mayhem and the misery, the hardship, the pain, the suffering. I mean, they're doing okay. Right? Well, I don't know. Adrian Dix was going on saying that he replaced them all, basically. But with what, people? With what? Why would you fire a qualified working class of people that have been on the job for numbers of years, right? And are experienced, to bring in unexperienced workers that want to call themselves paramedics just because they're being placed into that position to fill the spots where the people got fired out of, basically, for not conforming to what YouTube obviously protects. Okay? And then people wonder why people like me are depressed. Right? Because, you know, we can see past the wool that's being pulled over our eyes. right? So what? YouTube condones firing 86 qualified, bona fide, experienced paramedics to fill the gap with immigrants that maybe can't speak English, and if they do, it's just barely, if at all, right? And may or may not be qualified, or maybe they were just rushed through a little quick course, right? Because, you know, they weren't allowed to go to work until the government put them to work. So they hooked them up with a 3-month course to fill the gap of being a paramedic. Well, the real paramedics got fired just so that they can keep pushing their agenda. Like they're pushing the agenda with Amari, speaking with forked tongue when the rubber meets the road, right? Because they need to fill the quota on that research study, even though there's other options. So anyway, I have to listen to the video to figure out what it was that I said that was so wrong, even though just by the title by itself is contradictory to in the here and now as to what's happening with my family. Okay, as to what my government... Hold on a minute. Okay, having to get hay and Timothy hay and rabbit food for the rabbits. That's what that is all about. So I'm listening to this video. It started off doing a live stream with Fox Business or something like that. Apparently I got blocked for talking about fentanyl and illegal organ harvesting. I made 3 comments and they blocked me. I don't know. And I mentioned that there was 80, at that time, from old statistics, 80,000 fentanyl deaths dying in the United States of America, to which it's like 100,000 a year now, right? That was the last quote that I heard, was 100,000 people dying directly from fentanyl in the last year or so because of fentanyl, right? And then, of course, we know illegal organ harvesting is all involved with that, right, people? Okay, now I'm only 2 minutes and 18 seconds into this video. I have to find it. Hopefully I'll be able to find it, and I'm just going to upload it onto BitChute and wait for the next fucking removal, because it seems like we're going back in that direction, just like with the thumbs down. Okay? Right? Right? You know, it's back to being that YouTube bitch. Right? I don't know. I'll listen to this and I'll try and put an appeal in, but it probably won't matter because that's not the agenda, right? The agenda is to talk with forked tongue, right? In terms of do this, do this, do this, but then when it's convenient for us, you do this, you do this, you do this, which is contradictory to everything that they're talking about, right? Just as long as they can get to their end goal, and this is in relation to Amari, which we know is a research study, right, under the guise of healthcare, okay? Under the guise of healthcare, people, right? If Amari wasn't injured, they wouldn't be able to be hooking him in to a research study, right? Like I said, they need those kids by any means necessary, right? In order to keep the program going, right? In terms of that study. If it was as cut and dry as, okay, Amari has cerebral palsy, for whatever reason, right? And then, you know, these are the treatment options, right? Then you kind of just go in the flow with that, then that's different. But when they're being plugged in almost immediately from the time that their diagnosis is legitimized, that program all falls in line with a research study, people. So they need X amount of kids in order to be able to follow through on that study in a timely manner to keep their stakeholders happy. Right? And if you're against what they want. They're going to find ways to cut you off at the knees, removing my videos, again, like the good old days, as my YouTube file is sitting on somebody's desk at 3:45 in the morning, figuring out how they can basically attack me and shut me up for the benefit of the YouTube channel that's hosted by YouTube and props up the government of British Columbia, Canada, and I guess the WHO organization. They are speaking on behalf of Dr. God, Dr. Death, and some foreign entity that's miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away from Canada. As if they own Canada and everything and everybody in it. So, no point in dragging out this video, right? You can't go against, you can't say anything. You just have to swallow what they tell you to do. And that is why I'm extremely worried about Amari. Because, like I said, they don't acknowledge that he's happy, he's healthy, his immune system is good, he's alert, he's interactive, he's growing, he's everything that is more than what was given to you in terms of a damaged child. But yet, they're not satisfied. They're not satisfied. They want to put him in a spot in life where for 1 to 2 years, if not longer, he'll be completely miserable and not responding. And then will question me as to what I'm doing, why he's not responding. After they've manhandled him from appointment to appointment to appointment to appointment, as I'm being shut down for speaking out about the way I interpret things, the way I see things, the way I experience things with my family, right? The way I understand things because of what's happened to my family and what's going on in my so-called province, so-called country, right? As if none of that counts, right? So, what? They're going to take away my YouTube channel again, people? Is that what's going to happen here? For standing up for my family? Is that what's going to happen here, people? For standing up for my family. Okay, so I listened to this video. Honestly, I don't know what YouTube staff is getting all bent out of shape with here, people. I am going to put an appeal in. The last time they took down a video, I didn't do anything with it. You know, like I said, they browbeat you down. They make you self-doubt yourself. You know, they cut you up. You know, they treat you like you're garbage, right? They threaten you. They punish you. You know, they set you up for failure. You know, just all of it. Okay, so anyway, I don't know. I'm going to find it and I'll re-upload it onto BitChute. Not that I get a lot of views there because I don't, but besides that point, I'm going to put this appeal in. I'm going to copy and paste this before I submit it, but I'm going to read it to you and I'm going to put it off to the side, and then I take my little paint pictures and everything and I'll just put it in another folder, and if and when I ever get time to write Google, the CEO of Google, because we've talked about that before, I'll just include this, okay? But this is my appeal. Anyway, I'll just read it now, okay? YouTube staff cannot determine what my family, because you have to remember, people, I speak a lot on my own experiences, what my family's been through, you know, general knowledge that I know that, you know, whether I've seen it for myself or read up on it and, read up on it some more. And, you know, I just don't willy-nilly just throw things around just because I'm looking for fucking views or I'm asking for donations. I don't ask for donations. I'm in survival mode with my family. I have been in a long time. Okay, so we're not going to get into that, but let's read this first. YouTube staff cannot determine what my family has been through regarding misinformation in order to protect a local government, okay, in other words, the BC, British Columbia, Canadian government, because that's who they're protecting, okay? They're not protecting vulnerable families here. It goes back to that again, people. And their YouTube channel, they're protecting Dr. God, Dr. Death's YouTube channel, okay, or a foreign entity that is not sovereign to Canada. The WHO organization is a foreign entity that is not sovereign to Canada. I am sovereign. My family is sovereign to Canada because we were born in Canada, okay? So by default, we have the sovereignty here, not the WHO organization, okay? I don't know those people, those individuals, those things, whatever you want to call them, but for Adam, okay? None of those individuals represent my family. They do not protect my family, okay? They're an outside entity that's trying to capitalize off of the pharmaceutical industry, in my opinion. I'm allowed to say that, okay? And being that I mostly talk about fentanyl in this video, as a comparison as to what's going on in society back in those days with it just coming in, people, okay? This was in March 20th of 2020, okay? Sierra was dead 8 days freaking later, okay? You see me outside on the doorstep on her death day, right? Talking to a cop about this crap, okay? Anyway, I am not because here they say YouTube doesn't allow content that explicitly disputes the efficacy of local health authorities or World Health Organization WHO guidance on social distancing and self-isolation that may lead to people to act against that guideline. I listened to that. I didn't hear where I was telling people not to do that stuff, okay? I was talking mostly about fentanyl, illegal organ harvesting, that kind of stuff, okay? And how the governments, more than one, like to ignore hundreds of thousands, okay, of tens of thousands. It goes into hundreds of thousands of people in between the two countries, the United States of America and Canada, dying as a direct result of fentanyl. And then having their deaths just smoothed over as being called accidents or suicide. Okay, when in fact, my family, our experiences, we know otherwise, people, okay? And if I was to take it out onto the streets and have interviews with homeless people, you'd be hearing more and more and more stories about how hot capping has become a very profitable business in the province of British Columbia, Canada, to which I guess YouTube is trying to censor that information. What else is it, people? I am not telling people to not isolate or to not social distance, but rather stating disparities between fentanyl deaths and what happens to dead bodies after the fact of death in comparison to what society is facing now under a global dictatorship that censors for the purpose to mislead the public for a political agenda, just like how illegal organ harvesting happens as a result of fentanyl that the media doesn't report on. YouTube staff is trivializing what my family has experienced firsthand because of government corruption, lies, and other acts of targeting by removing this video. They are trivializing what my family goes through, people, because they're protecting other YouTubers and the WHO organization, which is not sovereign to Canada. Okay? Okay. Anything to keep you sick? Anything to keep you depressed? Anything to keep you angry? Anything to keep you sad? anything to keep you scared, right? Anything to keep you in self-doubt, okay? Anything to keep you under control, okay? YouTube staff cannot determine what my family has been through regarding misinformation in order to protect a local government and their YouTube channel or a foreign entity that is not sovereign to Canada. I am not telling people to not isolate or to not social distance, but rather stating disparities between fentanyl deaths and what happens to dead bodies after the fact of death in comparison to what society is facing now under a global dictatorship that censors for the purpose to mislead the public for a political agenda, just like how illegal organ harvesting happens as a result of fentanyl that the media doesn't report on. YouTube staff is trivializing what my family has experienced firsthand because of government corruption, lies, and other acts of targeting by removing this video. I don't know what you're supposed to say when you put in an application for an appeal when they're not even specific about what it is that you said. Right? Right? But clearly they're protecting Dr. God, Dr. Death. Okay? Or whatever she is to you. Right? Clearly. And they're protecting a foreign entity that has absolutely no sovereignty in the here and now of what goes on in Canada on a minute-to-minute, second-to-second fucking basis, being that I and my children were born in this country, people. What gives some strange individual that I will never ever meet in my life that can barely speak English, if at all, assuming that you can understand what they're saying through their accent, the right to live my life and my children's lives so that we get mistreated and abused, and then our lives are trivialized and forgotten about after we die. No matter how we die. Doesn't matter if it's fentanyl or whatever. We can't say the boogeyman virus. We just say fentanyl. Right? We got 100,000 Americans. It jumped from 80,000 to 100,000 Americans across the whole country every year dying from fentanyl-related deaths. That was the last number. And even if it's not 100,000 and it was stable at 80,000 every year, people, that's a lot of people to be dying from fentanyl, as those cops and those coroners and everybody else that's dealing with these dead bodies are accusing the victims of doing it to themselves, whether through suicide or through overdose. When we damn well know, and we all know, that people are being murdered with fentanyl for nefarious reasons, okay? We know this, people. So why are they trying to cover it up by shutting me up, contorting it over to where, just as like they're trivializing what I'm saying about that, they're trivializing all the deaths that have occurred as a direct result of inoculations. Because they're just censoring, hoping that people will just give up and won't talk about it and will learn their lesson and will break down and just die, go away, disappear. Just disappear, right? Because the intentions of whoever is doing this is evil. As they prop up certain YouTubers that get a free pass to spread misinformation. Clearly there's misinformation going on there, right? In terms of what I'm having to face with my grandson, okay? What I'm having to go through right now, in the here and now, in a country that I don't even want to be in anymore, because I wouldn't call Canada a fucking country, okay? Canada is beyond a country now. It's something else altogether. That is a direct contradiction of what's being spouted off on this YouTube channel. What? I'm not allowed to say that? That's how I'm being treated. That's how my family's being treated. That's what's expected of us. That's what we're made to do. We don't have a choice, right? That's the thing. We don't have a choice. We're expected to jump through those hoops, even though it goes against everything that these YouTube is fucking promoting or protecting. Right there, hypocrisy. They don't care though. Because they want to dumb down the population, people. They want to keep people dumb. And dumber, and dumber, and dumber, and dumber, until it's just a whole nation of dimwits, basically, that can't fucking think. Right? Isn't that how it goes? That's the new norm, right?